Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. It's time again for the Mikey and Al Between the Lines podcast.
Hey, everybody.
I'm Mikey.
I'm Mikey, and I'm Al.
Yeah.
I'm Mikey, and I'm Al.
Go ahead. So, you know what? Do it again. I'm sorry.
Hi, everybody. It's time again for the Mikey and Al Between the Lines podcast. I'm Mikey.
And I'm Al.
And again, I don't even know if I'm really here today.
You're not all there.
You're just supposed to say I'm Nick. We didn't need the back.
You're not all there.
We didn't need the backlog.
Recently,
we just need to know what's going on.
Life's just gotten worse.
All right. Just shut up.
Oh, no.
All right.
This isn't a cry for help or
I'm
anything.
23.
I know. I'm 23, and life is fucking tough.
Sexually active.
Yeah.
I can play that song because it's out of copyright.
I live with my parents.
What, Hearts in the... What was it?
Must be nice to be 23, living with your parents, and they pay all your bills, right?
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice being 44, living with your parents, and they 44 and a half.
44 and a
It's
half.
like a 6-year-old. I'm 6.5.
And a half. I love telling kids
You do
Anyways,
you do look at that half thing, right?
Never mind. Hey,
You like going up to kids and being like, I'm 44.
my nephew.
Oh, stop it.
There, that's better.
Children. Yeah, you're not allowed to go up to stranger kids. Kids with strangers. Kids who are strangers.
Were you ever?
Although, I bring my nephew to the park when I go down to the Bronx.
Yeah.
And, you moving around with the kid. They know the kid's with you.
Mm-hmm.
But then everybody else's kid starts talking to you and bumping into you and bumping into the kid.
Right.
So you got to deal with their nanny.
Uh-huh.
They're sometimes pretty fucking mean.
I can imagine.
And they start looking at you like you're an asshole.
You are.
It's not like
Well,
it used to be.
I don't act like an asshole.
No.
I am an asshole, though.
Well, it's like, things have changed in the world. If you look at what's going on in today's world, think about alcohol versus weed. If you think about weed, and we were talking about that the other week, 21 states legalized weed now.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
21 states.
21 states. How weed is now sort of not taboo anymore.
It's not taboo.
And it took a long time for that to happen, right?
Very much.
But
Very
you know
much.
what?
I've been busted myself. I was a victim of the marijuana laws.
Were you?
Yep.
He
How?
was selling it to
If you
teenagers.
can,
I got
give
busted.
us an overview.
I got busted a couple times with a half a gram in my car.
Did you?
Yeah.
Now, how did that? Okay, how
Just
did
went
that?
to court.
Give us.
They just want their money.
But give us a play-by-play. I mean, so you're driving along, you get stopped.
Driving along, got stopped with my buddy Al, and we both just had one little bag with a half a gram of pot in it,
Right. Okay.
and we both copped to it.
You cop to it.
So we both had to pay the fine on the half a gram.
So how does that
instead of one person and the other person paying for it or something?
Okay. But how does that happen? Okay, so they pull you over, and you're like, you guys probably, I mean, there's probably that marijuana smell or whatever the fuck it is. So they come over to the car, and they're like, oh, do you have anything in the car? And you guys, yeah, we got, or what happened?
Yeah, we just came forth with it.
Did you?
Yeah, because the cops like, hey, got anything in there? And you hope maybe he just lets you go. We didn't have much. We only had a half a gram of pot. you know?
Right.
So it's like, here you go.
I don't even know what's legal. Is it a half a gram? Is it a gram? Is it 3, 4, 5? I don't know what a gram.
Well, then zero. It wasn't
So what?
legal.
So they just ticket you right there, or did they take you in?
They ticketed me.
Okay.
Yep.
they
So it wasn't
ticketed
that bad at the time.
you. All right. Did they know
Yeah.
who you were? Did you like Mikey Tuttle? Did they give a shit, or they?
No, they didn't give a shit.
They're like, you know what? We're just taking you in. That's
Yep.
it. Now, could you smell the weed in the car or no?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I have
Okay.
to admit that.
All right.
So it was noticeable. I wasn't being profiled, I don't think.
Because I was wondering about that. Because I don't think there's any way, or I don't think they've developed a system yet to figure out, if you're drinking, they got, they'll do they'll do those tests where you got to walk around and hold your legs up and all this other bullshit. And then you got to blow, into this little thing, gives you a reading. But with weed, I don't think they have that yet, though.
Yeah, I don't think they
So
can
how
find
do
an
they
accurate test.
How do they accurately test nowadays?
I don't think they do.
They just, so you can just say, no?
I'm not high. Or just fail a sobriety test, I guess maybe the physical test.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably get off on some technicality there.
Probably true.
But I don't think they have any kind of accurate test as to whether or not someone's high at that very moment.
I don't think they do
marijuana
either.
takes so long to get through your system.
Right.
Yeah, so they haven't figured that out. But I got nailed for possession.
What's that?
I got nailed for possession.
Oh.
I didn't get a.
They can
But
tell.
you just
Really
held up
did.
your hand and said, "You know what? I have it here."
Oh yeah, because I've lied before. Takes me to my other one. I lied, and I got pulled over in the driveway of a friend's party while the party was going on, and that was embarrassing enough, And then I lied to the cop, and he was pissed.
Was he?
Yeah, oh yeah, wrote me a bunch of tickets. Stand trial. They just at that point, I think everybody was just trying to get as much money as they could at the very end of it being illegal.
I think you're right. So when you say stand trial, I mean, come on, it's
well,
it's
that
a
sounds.
pot
Yeah, I like to make it sound like a stood trial. I went to court.
Did you? And they give you a
Yeah, it's
little
more like
fucking.
going
They're
to
like,
court.
okay, please do not smoke pot again, and give you a little ticket.
Basically, yeah. But they hit. They were banging you over the head with some stiff fines at the end. Like the last one, I think I had to pay $700.
Wow, that is a lot.
And I got busted 3 times. I think in the last 2 years it was illegal. But before that, I don't even want to talk about it.
Well, I
Got away with quite a bit.
I find it interesting how, weed, if you look at the 60s, 70s, was just so much in the forefront. Everybody did. And then obviously all of a sudden it got taboo, throughout the 80s and 90s, I guess. And then all of a sudden it's sort of making a comeback. And nowadays, it's just the norm.
It's everywhere.
Yeah. And you got the medical dispensaries. You got, in terms of the laws are changing rapidly, and I know you
Markets
like to smoke
get flooded.
Weed. Yeah, the markets they get flooded. But
Oh yeah.
let me ask you something. So now, like in New York, I was reading somewhere in Albany that they actually have a dispensary now that delivers, which tripped me out because, you can literally order weed and they're going to bring it to your door. And I don't know how they're going to figure out.
I think they're doing the same with like narcotics and shit now, ever since COVID.
Yeah?
But I guess it makes sense they do it with weed.
Oh, that's true. But weed is the lesser of the two evils. It's a plant. Come on. I don't even
I'm with you on
understand why
that.
weed was so taboo in the first place.
I don't know. You know what? My theory is in the 20s when, up until, 50 years ago, maybe, a lot of places, 2 joints to get you 10 years in prison.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And I think people who smoke weed,
Which is a plant.
but it sort of makes you think a little more independently. You listen to rock and roll music. You want to be a little more rebellious in a way.
Yeah.
Not an outward, active way, but it does make you think differently the moment you start smoking pot.
I don't disagree. And you think
I think the powers that be didn't like that.
that's what it was. I think the powers that be
They want you to
shifted.
fall in line behind tight and be part of active member of society, which weed really, let's face it, doesn't really make. Look at me.
Yeah.
Shut up, Nick.
Well,
sorry.
It was that Nancy Reagan who fucked everything up. What was her mantra? Don't
War on drugs or just say
I'm
no?
gonna fuck everything up.
No, Nancy Reagan. I think she was like, don't do drugs or some
but
shit like
the
that.
Nancy Reagan thing was different.
That was the war on drugs.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
was
but
that, the one
that was
drugs?
when-
Ronald Reagan.
At the same time, the CIA was bringing cocaine
Cocaine
right
into
into
Well,
the
that's a whole
country for
different
a
animal.
reason.
That's a whole different animal.
Because we needed good
That's-
trade
I don't wanna-
relations.
That's something. That's anything that you can create in a fucking lab. I'm completely against. But when you got a plant that is
I'm
been
not
around
against
for
Frankenstein.
yeah, exactly.
Frankenstein, I'm all about.
Yeah,
He was
anytime
created in a lab. All right, sorry, that was stupid.
but you know what I'm saying. Anytime you can create something in a lab that may be. You see people who take these bath salts, these fucking methamphetamines.
My sister was telling me actually that people
shit.
were, like I said to her, I'd never seen anything on the street called bath salts. She said they were actually they were doing bath salts.
That's just crazy.
So
I heard
there's,
people
like
just
the bath ball that you did, they were crushing it up and snorting it.
It just completely, they go off the rails. I've heard of shit that people are just beating themselves over the head, that kind of shit. Who wants that kind of a thing?
That off
Weed.
the rails. That's worse than a PCP where you have superhuman strength and
I think all of that shit is just off the table. Anybody who does that, God bless you. If you want to do it, more power to you. But no, that is just that's the shame. I think weed. But then again, when you think about it,
Oh, they're beating themselves over the head.
they were beating themselves over the head. They're fucking running into
Because I've only
walls,
heard
kind
that
of thing.
figuratively in life.
No, truly. I
Really?
mean, with bath salts, yeah, that just
Going
and
haywire.
I don't even know
and
what
being-
bath salts are, to be honest with
They're
you.
actually bath salts. That's what my sister was telling me.
I thought that was a.
Yeah,
thought
me
that was
too.
a
I thought it was a name for a drug or something.
I thought that was a term for a drug. I didn't know it was actually bath salt.
Yeah, they were doing certain bath salts that had like things in them that made them want to get high and beat the shit out of themselves.
So wait a minute. So how
Beat
does
their
that
own
work
heads
though? If you got bath salts, so you can put them in an actual bath and it does nothing to you? I mean, that doesn't make sense.
It
right?
just pleases like your sense of smell and enhances your bathing experience. But
So-
if you crush it up
But
and you
who-
shoot it up your ass,
Who's the first asshole to say, you know what, let's take some bath salts and we put in a bath to have a nice chill evening with a glass of wine and some candles, and we're just going to crush it up and start snorting it up our fucking nose. I mean, where does that, how does that derive from? Who says, you know what, let's
I'd
do
imagine
that?
it was birthed from like someone's tub, like their hot water was out.
Yeah,
And now they
maybe.
filled the tub, they're ready to go in.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
They're pissed.
Well, now you see dispensaries all over the country.
Needed
People
to
are trying.
anesthetize,
Yeah, right.
Sorry.
What do you think about now?
Yeah, you can huff them. Absolutely.
The history, or everything.
Not
hear it.
personally
All right.
using them.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll definitely look into it.
Now, what
No,
do
I
you,
mean, like, hear it right now.
No, I'll look into it so I
Okay, cool.
know what I'm talking about.
what do you think about some of these dispensaries versus the black market now? Because now you have dispensaries and people are paying, I guess, a lot of coin to try to get to the forefront of this movement because weed is becoming more and more mainstream. I mean, you even have like what's his name, Jim Belushi. He's got a whole series on creating weed. You got other
farm.
people, these farms, and I know a couple of people, who've done that and whatnot. So, are dispensaries probably the way to go, or do you think the black market is going to overtake, the distribution and the selling of weed? What do you think on that?
I think cost-wise and quality in a lot of regards, black market is the way to go. But you have to seek out the right person. It's not always reliable.
Okay.
I think a lot of people are going to dispensaries and things like that. And a lot of dispensaries, even though they have high-quality goods that are reliable, I think a lot of the bud is the shelf life is pretty long before it hits the counter.
Okay.
It's kind of old and kind of musty.
Is there a shelf life
Quality
on weed?
goes down,
I know
you
you
know.
know weed better than I do, so I'm just saying, is there a
there-
shelf life on weed or no?
There is. I mean, it'll keep potency and everything, but if you want it to be like, optimum and,
Uh-huh.
in flavor and all the goods and everything that you want it for, it's probably like, 6 months to a year most. I think you want to let it go.
Right,
You know.
right.
But there's ways to, shrink wrap it, store it properly.
Well, it's crazy that we're starting to move into that scenario where the states is accepting it, but yet still, if you let's say you go apply for a job or any of that bullshit, they're still piss testing you. Although the federal government, I believe, is not stated, okay, we accept it, but state by state, it just becomes more and more easier. And then you figure, okay, what's the effects of weed versus alcohol? I mean, overall, it seems like weed is probably the better product to go if you're going to do it. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating anybody do anything, but I'm just saying if there was a choice of two evils, and I was reading an article about Willie Nelson, and he said weed saved him because he was a lush.
Oh, he
For
was.
a long time.
Oh, really?
And he cut that out and he started smoking weed, and now he just turned 90. So you never know. I don't
He's
know.
living a happy, long life just smoking pot.
Just smoking pot. So, I think weed probably gives you a little better opportunity not to do stupid ass shit, because when you're drunk, right? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah, I've never gotten stoned and then almost gotten married to
exactly.
my
Right.
girlfriend.
You just order pizza and chill
Spur
out.
of the moment.
Exactly.
Yeah, drunk. I've done some really, man. Yeah, I've done some bad.
Yeah, we got to get into those. Well, we have gotten into those, but in terms of people that you know, like you guys.
It's funny when a drunken story occurs to me that would fit some, and then I think, okay, it might be criminal.
You don't want to divulge
hit the
it.
brakes. Wait another 5 years. All right, go on.
Well, it's funny. I read a statistic that said, guys, let's say if you take anybody 75 and older, there's about a 3 in 10 ratio of those guys who say, weed is acceptable. And then if you have a current age group of 30 and below, 72% say that is acceptable. And I think what happened was after Prohibition, everything was like, okay, if you go into the 60s and the 70s and that time frame, who did you have? You had Sinatra, you had Dean Martin, everybody, it was just alcohol. Nobody really, weed wasn't really that prevalent, if I'm not mistaken, until we started getting into the 70s. Well, 60s. Maybe late 60s, into the 70s. I think
the Beatles and Bob Dylan made smoking weed kind of a thing.
But then it went, it was up there and then it dropped back down, right? Because I think there was more of that, you're right. I think the government sort of.
Yeah, I think everybody was always boozing.
Yeah, everybody was boozing.
And then it being illegal, that really put a crimp on getting it or wanting to keep it.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
If we go off of, I don't know, 1979 and 2016 seems to be the first time we properly started graphing it.
Graphing.
So, using actual data of marijuana recreational use.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if there's a 1900s or 1950s on graph for marijuana use,
Oh.
So that would be a good representation of what you're talking about right now. 1960. You're saying 1970s, right?
I know it's somewhere in that
cultural
area,
thing,
but
right?
It was a cultural thing. I think,
like people didn't smoke weed and listen to Elvis, right? But they would smoke weed and listen to Bob Dylan.
There you go,
right? or the Beatles.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely,
it's right there. And then it disappears for a while, I guess.
Yeah, the Flower Child era or whatever.
Oh yeah.
The whole Woodstock era, peace, love, and understanding.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Psychedelics.
I think that's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Now you had the opportunity. You were with didn't you guys do something with 2 Chainz? It was a some kind of event where you went down there. 2 Chainz, who has that show Most Expensive, is you guys. I think it was down in Manhattan. There was some kind of Jacob Javits Center episode where you got to meet him, correct?
Yeah, we just I think met him by chance, ran into him or something, and then they wanted to do a segment just impromptu.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I'd never heard of 2 Chainz before.
Okay.
But he came out on like one of the motor stores, or came out. What did he do? He came around the corner and he started talking to me about the motorcycle.
Yeah.
And I don't know anything about motorcycles, so they assumed he dropped me in the slot.
Assumed.
Yeah, that I know everything, So I just kept saying I have no clue.
What was you and your pa? I remember it was you and the old man. You guys were talking, and I did watch a segment. And at the end, we were talking. You guys were talking about his chains and what it would cost to buy a bike, because I think your old man was saying that, the average bike is like $200,000 or whatever it was, and I think he had about $200,000 worth of jewelry on his fucking neck or some shit like that.
I bet.
Yes, I can remember that. And then he is a big. I think he's a big proponent of smoking weed. I mean, all the rappers and all that. That seems like that's their go-to medicine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I smoked him up.
Nothing wrong with it.
I smoked him up with a vape pen.
Did you really?
Yeah, it's name throwing though.
Oh, that's nice.
I didn't even know who he was.
Really?
Yeah, and then like my friend's kid was saying, "Hey, 2 Chainz," and I'm like, Yeah. Yeah, we're best buddies. You kidding me? I'm cool.
He seems like a tall dude. What is he, even like 6'5", 6'6"?
He's
big
tall.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. So you did smoke him up with a vape pen.
I did.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
He didn't pick you up by the ass like Shaq, though, and put you up in the air, right?
I did that to him.
I'd like to do that to you, Mike.
Yeah. And he launched a suit.
I want to do that to you, Mike.
Still pending. I know you do, buddy.
Oh, my God.
Keep going to CrossFit, though.
Do you know they actually prescribed hemp, which is weed?
Yeah.
It was added to the pharmacopoeia, the U.S., the main.
What was it prescribed for?
Opium withdrawal.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Hemp.
A lot of things. They actually had a article released in the 1930s or so about it's the new wonder drug, or it's the new wonder crop.
Wow.
Hemp.
Hemp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is basically CBD.
Which is basically weed. Same
Yeah.
as
CBD.
and hashish, which is a more potent form of a cannabis processing, has been used since before Christ.
I will tell you something about when I lived in Germany, and I lived there for quite a few years, weed was not common. So what if you did want to smoke anything, people, you'd go to this place in Frankfurt, it was a park or whatever, and these guys from Turkey would sell hashish, and it's like it looks like a pencil basically. And it's compressed.
A little worm tube of hash. And
that's basically what it is.
Tinfoil or something like that.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and you don't find that over here much, right?
No.
Over there you did back then, and this is late 80s, 90s, and that's basically where you went.
You usually find hash where like you can't either grow the pot or it's
Still a major drug.
It's just yeah.
And it's
exactly.
recreationally used.
It's still prosecuted as a major drug.
1956.
What, hash is?
So, no, but hash is probably
I'm sure
worse, but
it is.
It's easier to smuggle.
And
it
it's
doesn't
worse for
stink, and it's compact. Yeah.
Uh.
My friend lived up in Newfoundland, and he said he used to get empty 22 shell casings
Put it in there.
with hash in them.
That's funny.
Really?
They put them in the thing and then back in the box and send them up. Yeah.
Wow.
They'd have a bunch of
That's
shell
pretty
casings full
ingenious.
of. Yeah.
That's a little crazy, but ingenious.
That Leaf Garrett albums.
That Leaf Garrett albums. There has been a cultural shift, I think. Now, I think, you got medical marijuana. I mean, even in our area, they have that. I think it's Curaleaf, where people go there and they get. I don't know how they get I guess you got to get a card or whatever ailment you have. They just prescribe weed nowadays.
I forgot it was legal here. I mean, I should know that, but
Where, in New York?
yeah, cannabis. I just completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
I don't.
New York, 21 states, baby.
Look,
21 states.
I gotta speak.
21
Keep it on a swivel.
As somebody who's never tried it, used
Don't.
You never,
man,
you never did the pot.
it,
You never did the pot.
You never used the dope.
the
Good for
dope,
you.
Never tried the Mary Jane, and it's not a good for me thing. It's not. That's not why I did it. It's for moral superiority over people who use weed. No, I just
You
never,
just like to stay alert and take
I
advantage of
just never.
stoners.
I never. Yeah, that's it. That's God.
That's
That's
what you're
rapey.
doing right
that's
now.
Really rapey. Yeah,
I didn't-
Mike is.
I didn't mean it like
Mike
that.
is always stoned. That's how we get him on the show. Actually, that's what he's saying there. Al.
Oh, my
No, but
goodness.
as somebody, I just don't have any.
Whoa.
I don't have any idea. I don't like the smell. I don't know how people can stand it.
I don't like the smell.
That's not a moral thing. It's not like, oh, you should stop using because
stinks,
it
that's
offends
why.
me.
No,
but
you know
it's
what?
a smell.
Well,
and it's-
I'll go with you on that, right? I like keep it outside, right?
Yeah.
Nothing in the living room, none of that
and in my
bullshit,
car,
right?
and in my car.
And in your car, yeah, but that's vape. But I'm not lighting a pipe in your car.
No, you're not. You're not.
That would stink. And
Yeah.
your parents start asking questions, and they wouldn't let us hang out anymore.
My mother has asked questions before.
I know.
Really?
She thought I was smoking because I'd like.
Listen,
I'd hang out
my
with
mother
you,
has asked
and you'd smoke
questions.
a pipe and it'd be on my clothing.
See, you can't
She's
do it
got a
indoor. That's
nose
why.
like a
You got to do it
bloodhound.
outside.
Oh, my God.
I was in New York City for 420, and everybody was smoking in the streets. And it used to be like you walk through the city, and occasionally you smell a little marijuana. You'd be like, ooh, that smells good. You know?
Yeah.
But everybody was smoking. It kind of stunk like shit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was like all like, everybody smelled like kind of like that shitty
Yeah.
wet kind of roach smell.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't cool. It wasn't Shangri-La like I thought.
That's sort of the quality of it, right? I mean, you got to
Yeah, they might have been smoking garbage.
They probably are. Yeah,
That could have
absolutely.
been it too. Because, good stuff smells really good.
Oh, there's
As
an
you know.
aroma to it.
And bad stuff, it smells really bad.
Really bad. So have you ever, so,
But I give the city more credit. Figure everybody would have kind bud and shit,
well, the city is the city, though. I mean, the city now, if you go to Manhattan now,
Yeah.
anywhere, if you come off of, I don't care if you're going out of Grand Central, if you're going out of, if you're in Times Square or wherever you're at, all that you smell is smoke everywhere because they don't give a fuck. I mean, because now it's legal, they just smoke, and you can't. I mean, the cops don't do shit. They're just gonna
They don't care.
cite you. Maybe you get a $50 citation,
Yeah.
and at this point, it's just it's like a free for all.
Yeah.
It's the craziest shit. I was in the city the other day, and I was going. I came out of Grand Central, walked up towards, and for anybody out there who doesn't know Manhattan, it's just an open, an open. I don't even know. Yeah, it's an open cesspool of people just on the street smoking pot nowadays. It's crazy. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's funny.
A little of both.
It's a little.
It's fun to visit.
It's fun to visit.
A lot of fun to visit.
Absolutely fun to visit. Great.
Yeah.
So
TJ,
what is it?
Tijuana.
Do you want up?
So
Dope.
So 2 Chainz, that was cool. Any other cool pot experiences you had?
That was cool, but in hindsight, because I didn't know who, all that, it unraveled real quick.
Yeah.
You get flung into something. That's pretty nifty.
Yeah.
That's the most interesting element.
Let me tell you, what a cool show he has, though.
Yeah, he gets to go and experience like the most expensivest shit, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. I started watching it after.
It really is. I've seen the show many times.
Because then I could watch it with people and be like, hey, I know that guy.
Exactly.
Even though I.
That's what I do with American Chopper. Every new friend that I meet, I show them an episode of American Chopper.
They're not going to be friends for very long.
But this guy has...
Show them the You episode where you're naming all your favorite episodes and Frank's. And then they're like, oh, that guy.
The highlight. Yeah, the highlight episode.
That's my favorite one, man. Because that's where you have that moment where you scream.
Yeah.
Like you did on the thing here. You're screaming at a lizard. It's my favorite little clip from...
You know what? It just occurred to me. Nick's an American Chopper fan.
Well,
I've never seen more than 2 episodes.
I always thought he was a friend.
You know what's funny though?
No, you just. You know what?
I was going on a 2 Chainz kick.
Listen to me. Listen to me.
You can never do that again. Please don't do that again, ever. Shoot him. I was going down a 2 Chainz road, and then he had to switch it to American Choppers again. Exactly.
Do it.
But what a cool concept. I wonder who came up with that. I wonder if he said, you know what, I want to put together a show, or however it was done. That is such a cool concept where you get to travel and see some of the most expensive things possible, and then they probably pay you to do it. Yeah. And you get some kind of a you just get perks. You get perks, right? What a great concept. Remember when you and I talked about that we talked about that little show. What was it called? Follow the Strain.
Follow the Strain.
Follow the Strain.
We never the beginning of the marijuana boom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Follow the Strain, where we go around the globe.
Yep.
Searching for the origin of
but
the original marijuana strain.
Although it never came into play. I mean, the most expensive is. It really depends upon where your focus is. I know. Nobody was buying that fucking show.
Fuck, there's so many other more attractive people that are pitching the same fucking thing right now. Yeah.
You never know, though. You never know.
You never know.
I mean, think about 2 Chainz. Literally, he's a rapper.
Yeah.
And somehow he segmented himself into this show that is doing pretty well, and I think it's a cool thing. I think as long as you have some kind of conceptual idea that shows a product, I mean, look at Pawn Stars.
Yeah.
Those guys don't. I mean, when you think about every time that they you have an episode, and they're so knowledgeable about that product, that's all bullshit. They can't know everything about everything. So I'm sure it's fed to them prior to the show.
Or they do a little research on that specific item, so that they got all their P's and Q's, so they're not wasting any time.
Which is fine, but they come across as
I have a feeling Rick knows.
You think so?
I think that guy's like a wealth of knowledge.
He could be. Have you ever met those guys?
Guy, and he has that like music geek, the theater geek thing,
I could see that.
Like the antique geek.
Yeah.
I think he's real deal.
You may be right.
The rest of them, Chum knows his shit about the shoes.
Yeah,
Chum knows his Air Jordans.
He's had his little.
I don't know what's Corey like. I've watched so many episodes of that show.
I don't know, but Chum Lee got he got in some legal shit too. He got he got caught with firearms, and amphetamines in his house and all this shit. He beat it though. Don't get me wrong,
he doesn't seem like the amphetamine firearm type.
Oh, dude, you know what? Nobody ever seems like what they are on TV. Come on, but I love Chumley. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but he doesn't seem amped up ever.
He probably
I've
keeps
seen
it
like
keeps,
almost every
he
episode.
probably keeps it on a swivel, baby. He probably keeps it on a swivel,
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps rolling.
So you never know. You never know. But have you ever met those guys, the Pawn Star guys?
No,
No.
no.
All right, they seem pretty cool. I don't know. What about
They were History Channel. They're actually the enemy of Discovery.
how does that work?
They're mortal enemies. I think the CEO of both companies, like, they meet up every 7 years for an epic battle to the death. With it, one has to behead the other.
Is that what it
there's a quickening process, and then that one runs both networks.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, because everything's kind of like
but
agglomerated from underneath.
You got
like
three
underground.
major. Am I correct or not? You got 3 or 4 major channels. You got Discovery. You got History Channel.
Yep.
Vice Channel really kicked off.
Vice Channel's hip, young, new.
Yeah. Vice Channel, and then you have I think the Vice Channel's
EEN,
what?
Ben,
Black Entertainment Network.
is it?
How the fuck how did I get in there? Such a dick. Is that still around? I don't even
Yeah,
know.
it's great, man.
You watch that?
Ah, there's some great stuff on there. Like, fuck, I don't want to say it wrong. Is it Black Mafia?
Go ahead. You say everything wrong.
Thanks. Is it Black Mafia?
I don't know
Do
where
you know
you're
that show
going
from
with
a while
this.
ago?
Listen, you're just spouting off, right?
You're
When
just
you
spouting
took us
off
way
shit.
off subject. I mean, we were getting a little long in the tooth, I guess. What
Exactly.
were we saying?
I don't know. We were talking about.
It's some interesting. I always lose my
Yeah,
place.
Black
I don't know.
Mafia. Black Mafia family.
I want to hear the Corey Feldman story because I've been binging on Corey Feldman. I don't know why,
Who's
but his episode. I mean, he has this music career going on that I think he's played a couple of concerts in front of about 120 people, and the guy was great. An actor from Goonies to Stand By Me and whatnot, but he is just he's got this infatuation with Michael Jackson that is just unbelievable. And he is so oblivious to the fact that he is just not. He's
not as talented?
He's not good.
I think he's more talented.
He's not good, but he's so not good that it makes it almost wonderful to watch because he's so fucking oblivious on how bad he is.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
When
like
you see
me.
a train wreck with confidence, it's kind of nifty. You know,
It
in a
is
way.
so
It's like seeing someone out singing karaoke perfectly,
Uh-huh.
and then the person after sucks. The person after who sucks is way better.
Yeah, right?
Way better. Yeah.
Because
because if they have as much confidence,
It's-
you know what I mean.
it's the
even if they don't, that's kind of fun.
it's the
too.
confidence factor. It's
It's me when I get laid.
It's yeah. Once
It's a
every
train
5
wreck.
years.
But it's so bad, it's good. Or at least that's what I've been told.
Once every 5 years with it. But
In the mirror.
I've seen this
I
guy.
don't wanna
I've
picture
watched some
that.
YouTube videos on this guy, Corey.
Yeah, you do.
And he should have just stuck in his lane. He should have stayed in his lane. I'm telling you, Mike,
He's out of his element, Donnie.
with his music and with his mind, it seems like he wants to personify Michael Jackson, who is long dead and gone, but at the same time, this guy can just not get it together, and he loves, and people have told him, and if you look at all the reviews and everything, and that they tell him how bad he is, and this guy just continues to push forward, and I love that about him.
Oh, there you go.
Somebody who was just oblivious to the fact
Mm-hmm.
that they are that bad is just somebody that I love to death. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, that's probably why you love me.
No, stop.
No. You know what?
You're long dead and
I
gone.
give him a lot of credit for keep on going. You know, it keeps on going and
Keeps on going.
keeps on trucking on.
He just keeps on trucking on.
You know,
If you saw some of the things I've seen on YouTube lately, and he's got this thing. It's called the Corey Angels, and he has a list of acceptable criteria
For what?
for his. He calls them,
Backup
I guess,
dancers?
the Corey Angels or something like that.
Yeah, the
and they're his
band.
backup band.
Hello, angels.
What is
Horrible.
the list? Is it anything
list is
moral or is it all
You have to think of positive things. You cannot drink alcohol. You have to adhere to a sort of weight limit. You cannot eat meat. You cannot do this, that, the other thing. It's just the craziest shit in the world. And for some reason, and then whenever they play live, they have these.
They're all very attractive women, though.
All very attractive women.
But they have to fit all that.
They have to fit that criterion. And then when they're playing live, which I don't think they're playing live, they're playing the backtracks. But they have these fucking. It's the worst thing, and it's the cringiest thing in the world. They got these big ass angel, things. Yeah,
they go out and shit.
Angels thing.
Yeah,
and I think he's playing the backtracks. And listen, God bless him. If he can push forward and
well, one thing. The only problem I have with that list is mandating positivity. And I'm an optimist. But when you mandate positivity, it makes people a little, when you see, I don't know if you ever go through the Watchtower Farms over here, Jehovah's Witness. Everybody's wearing a smile because they have to. They mandate the smile. You can't.
Where's that?
You got to be, and then you got to be miserable in private.
I have a friend who's
negative emotions. They come out. It's kind of like you can't mandate positivity.
I have a friend who's a witness, and
a witness to what?
Genuinely a witness. A witness to a triple murder rape. What?
Really?
Jehovah's. We're talking about Jehovah's Witnesses. What did you think I was talking about?
I didn't know I don't know where we went right now,
I have a friend who's a witness to a triple murder. Yeah, that's where I'm going. No. Okay. No, I'm talking about a witness, and he has moments where he has he has negativity, but they're all human, at least most of them. They're not Scientologists. But most of them are.
So you're saying Scientologists are inhuman?
Yeah, absolutely. Have you seen Tom Cruise recently? Come on, that man is not aged.
You're not going to make friends.
Him and John Travolta both, they're aging slower than they should be.
Yeah, but you know what? They all got like $400 or $500 million.
Any Scientologists are listening. I don't share Nick's.
I don't say. Yeah, exactly. We love you guys,
but they're positive because that's the religion is being positive. That's very, very, very. What's the word? That's squeezing it down a lot, but. A lot of it has to do with being a good person and being a community, being a neighbor, being a friend.
That's what every religion has to do with, Nick. It does not have any. What religion says, you know what?
When you're completely repressed from negative emotion,
exactly.
Sometimes you got to let it bleed, right, baby? Sometimes you got to cry. Sometimes you got to take a.
He tried to tell
an old golf club and beat it into the lawn, with one hand. And it's like, wham. Not that I used to do that.
He tried to tell me that my positive outlook on life and the way that I see things would make me a great witness. I'm like, yeah, but I don't have money for that.
What do you mean? Oh, you got to pay for it?
You
don't grow a good enough
an entry
mustache.
fee?
You pay into that.
You
don't have to pay into it.
Membership?
You join and
you don't grow a thick enough mustache.
I don't grow a thick enough mustache.
That's what it is.
He does too.
He does.
And it doesn't look good on him.
No?
And I didn't want to tell him that, but I said, oh, that's different.
Yeah, you can't mandate positivity and mustaches.
You can do one or the other.
I don't
you
think so,
can't do
Al.
them both.
No.
Hey, everybody, it's time again for the Mikey and Al Between the Lines podcast.
To end.
And I'm Mikey.
And I'm Al.
Yep.
And I'm Nick. No, but
have a nice day.
Everybody, wait, stop.
Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, YouTube, TikTok,
yes, do that.
Instagram, Facebook.
And comments.
Greens, beans, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ham. You name it.